Good morning and welcome to day 16 of our Antarctica South America adventure. Today we're in the Falkland Islands, and the Falkland Islands is a real small country way out in the middle of the Atlantic. And today we're taking tender boats in to see the city right in front of you. But we're given strict instructions. Today it's a windy day. They're forecasting winds to be around 40 knots. But the one bad thing is the port closes when winds reach 30 knots. So they're forecasting more than likely the port's going to close at some point. So they gave us strict instructions that whenever that we're off on land, if we hear the ship's horn whistle, come back to the ship, because that means that the port has closed and the ship has to move with or without guests aboard. So we played it safe and stayed right around the port to go out visiting today. Some people decided not to risk it and go ashore and just stayed on the ship all day today. So they had a full slate of activities going throughout the day, just in case you wanted to. Like I say, me and Cheryl, we wanted to see more penguins because, a couple million penguins just wasn't enough. So we had to go see more. And we had a good hunch that there would be tour operators operating right off the ship. And we were correct. So we got to go right down to the end of the where the tender boats dropped us off and book a little local trip and walk around downtown, because we've been on the ship now for 7 days straight, not touching land. So it's high time that we got off, walk around, eat a little local food, maybe have a beer, and just see what they have to offer. And to give you where we're at on this voyage, our last steps on land were about a week ago, down in Ushuaia, which is right in this general area. We went out into the sea and past the Cape Horn of South America, and then down into Antarctica. And we spent about 4 days traveling around here, with our last look at land at Elephant Island, right here on the tip. Then we had another sea day through the Drake Passage, and today we're going to the Falkland Islands. You may remember this because of a war that was happening between Argentina and Britain back in 1982. And these islands are a huge set of islands way out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And where we're going to is the largest town on the islands, Port Stanley, way over here on the corner. So if you look, and we'll zoom in, Port Stanley is home to most of the population of the islands. And the island population is about 3,800, give or take. And the majority of those 3,800 live over in Port Stanley. And whenever that we come in, the ship docked way out here. And we took the tender boats or the life rafts through this little cut of land over to the tourism center, the tourist area. This dock right here is where the tender boats, the lifeboats, dropped us off at, and they have a little tourist board. And this is where you could get excursions. If you haven't bought anything through the ship, people set up little shops along the road right here, and taxi drivers, and they'll take you wherever that you want to go. Most people, though, just want to see penguins, and well, we do too. We haven't seen enough penguins yet. We've seen penguins every day, but more penguins is good. So we went ahead and booked a tour here, and I think it was about $60 for 2 people to go to see the penguins. And where that we go to is right by their huge airport, way over here. And this airport is huge. It gets 1 flight a week, so make sure you catch it. And where that we went to was a Gentoo colony right here. And this is the Gentoo penguins. If you want to see 2 types of penguins, they have Magellanic penguins on the other side. These are the same penguins that we saw in Ushuaia. And we saw a few of these penguins in Ushuaia also, but this one was the one we decided to go to. Just a little quick 3-hour trip. So, back over here, If you want to go for a little tour of downtown, the ship, like I said, will drop you off right here at the tourist colony, the tourist board, and we walk right down Ross Street. And this is the main drag in town. This is where everything's happening. You have a church. Actually, there's a couple of churches along, a little store that we stopped and got some snacks at. And we walked all the way down to the post office. There, we got some Falkland Island currency, because you have to have foreign currency to bring back home. Everybody here took dollars or credit cards, but we wanted to get Falkland Islands cash. And we sent some postcards back home from here. And we just bought the postcards there and paid the postage, and they showed up about 3 weeks later. So this is the main area of the Falkland Islands. So let's go to our penguin tour. And as soon as you get off the tender boats to shore, you're greeted with their spoke seal. Of course, this seal is sound asleep, sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sing along if you know the song, but anyway, right out looking across the bay is all kinds of names written on the hill on the other side. These are the names of just ships that participated in the 1982 war, or ships that just come in for a port. So all along the other side are ships' names written on the hill on the other side. And I'm not sure if this is their spokesperson for the penguins, or he just had enough of all the racket everywhere else and just decided to get a little alone time. Either way, he was all by himself. And if I were going to be a penguin, I think this is where I would want my home. Spread out on the beach, not jam-packed with all the other penguins like we saw in Antarctica. So here they had a little bit of room, and it didn't smell. And the penguins here would walk right up to you, or you could walk right up to them. They paid no mind to you. But there were park rangers in the area making sure that you stayed 6 feet away from the penguins and not touch them in any way at all. And the wind was blowing so hard here I couldn't record any sound, and it kept picking up specks of sand and blowing it on my camera, so sorry about the little spots that you see every once in a while. And these are fairly young penguins waiting for the parents to come out of the water, come out of the ocean with food and feed them. And they would go out toward the ocean waiting for them to come out. And whenever a parent would come up, they would start making a noise, a little squealing noise, and the little chicks would run right up to them and get a little food. And this clip shows just how unafraid the penguins are of people. Just walking around amongst the folks, and people had to get out their way. And the adult penguins, whenever they come out of the water, they're heading up to their chicks. But sometimes another chick comes up and hopes to get a food, and is met with a little rude awakening. Nah, this isn't my chick. Move on. And this group of penguins are young king penguins. You could tell by the little feathers that are still, they're still pulling off their baby feathers. And the penguins without the yellow is Gentoo penguins. And this is how I think I look sometimes whenever I leave the buffet. Just have to put my hands back and waddle away. And I was watching this group of young penguins all hoping to find their mom whenever apparently one thought he heard his mom. He went running straight up to her and was begging for food. But again, not their chick. But at least he found a friend to huddle up next to and hopefully help block the wind from each other. And this group of 5 chicks couldn't wait for their parents to come back. They were going to meet them right at the water's edge. And looking at all the chicks across the top of the hill, I found another chick at the top of the hill. But this chick is mine. She's waiting for me to come take our selfie. It's like we do on all the trips we go on. And the whole time we're looking at the penguins, we're within a mile of our ship, parked just over another hill. And we'll say our final goodbyes to all the penguins as we start to head back to the ship. Our 3 hours are getting to almost be up. So back to the ship we'll go. This is the Lady Elizabeth. She was built in 1879 and ran aground in 1936. And whenever we get back in town, our photogenic seal is still there waiting for us. But we're going to take a tour of this town and see all the sights that it has around, the flowers, and we'll stop by and get a little snack to eat. This is the main historic church in town. This church was complete with its whalebone arches completed right out front, and was built in 1892. And if you've ever noticed, a lot of the old churches have a lot of great woodwork inside. That's because the carpenters that built the church are also the same carpenters who built the boats. And whoever's maintaining the church is doing an excellent job. They had a flower garden right outside, which was picture perfect for looking out over the water. And the little store that we stopped to get us some snacks has FIC on the store. That stands for Falkland Islands Company. And they owned 80% of the island at one time. Our next stop was to the post office, where we bought postcards and some Falkland Islands money. Even though they're part of the British territory, they have their own currency. And no trip to a British territory would be complete without a stop at a British pub. So we stopped in for a pint, saw the old Falkland Islands War souvenirs, and had us a plate of fish and chips. We tried the malt vinegar with the fish and chips, but not my bag of tea. I had to wash it down with another beer. And in no time, we're on the titterboat or the lifeboat heading back to the ship. It's pretty uneventful, but whenever that we get back onto the ship, the captain made an announcement of what had transpired early in the day. Apparently, the winds had kicked up and the port was closed, but only for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then the winds died down a little bit and they were allowing people to go to and from the ship again.
Now this morning at 6:30 a.m. the Oosterdam entered the Pembroke Channel, which is the only channel leading to Port Stanley. The starboard anchor was laid out with a total of 270 meters or 820 feet of chain on the bottom. By 11 o'clock this morning we only had 174 guests on board out of 1,860. The total population of the island exploded with 50% today. And while we initially had calm winds upon arrival, the adverse weather rolled in around 10:30 this morning with peak winds up to 50 knots around 1 o'clock. This made us halt the operation for 15 minutes. Now after leaving Pembroke Channel approximately 45 minutes after departure, we will sail on a northwesterly heading towards Puerto Madryn pilot station, where I expect to arrive on January 24th at 7 a.m. to be docked shortly after. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the sail away. I hand you now over to Cruise and Travel Director Ed with the latest entertainment updates for this evening. Have a good evening and above all, stay upright.
And even though me and Cheryl ate fish and chips only about 3 to 3.5 hours ago, well, it's dinner time. And just like that penguin that we saw waddling on the beach, we're doing the same thing. We're waddling up to the dining room. And tonight was an excellent menu again. And I remembered to take the pictures. And tonight, Cheryl has a show for her appetizer, as she has the broccoli and cheddar soup that they pour right in front of her. Yeah, so exciting. Video the show.
Enjoy it.
Thank you, sir. And I have the crab and seafood cocktail, but without the show like Cheryl. Cheryl has a spice roasted chicken, and I have the planko crusted shrimp. And it appears my go-to dessert on this trip is a chocolate sundae, and Cheryl has a chocolate caramel tart. And as we sail off into the sunset, day number 16, the Falkland Islands ends up being another excellent port. And we hope that you stay watching all of our excursions and all of our stops, because we still have a few more left to go. So if you hadn't, hit the like and subscribe button. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.